Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy here for Whimsy Stamps. Thanks for joining me again today. I am going to be making some pumpkins. I'm going to decorate them up, and I'm going to use some Distress Spray stains as well as the amazing new Distress Spritz Sprays as well. So I think there has been some confusion about the spritz. We tend to think of them as a medium in and of themselves, but really they're more of a finishing spray. And the idea was that they would be used over the coordinating colors. I'm sure there are a million other ways to use them, but my understanding is the finishing spray, so that's how I'm going to be using them today. Getting on with the project, I have taken my beautiful Build a Pumpkin patch die set, and I'm using the largest pumpkin. You see that I die cut it numerous times, and I used watercolor cardstock. I believe it was my Fabriano cardstock, and just die cutting them out. And I'm using a bunch of beautiful background stamps again. On my last video, I was focused on my background stamps and other mediums that I had not had the opportunity to play with, and this time I'm a little focused on them still. There's a lot of beautiful background stamps and dies and stencils and embossing folders, and I'm just hooked on them. So you might see more from me in the coming days as well, but you can see that I have a bunch of them going on. So I have the wire background stamp again. I have Shiplap. You're going to be hearing some noise as I flip through them. I also have the Scratchy Plaid background stamp, the Vintage Wallpaper, which is one of my absolute favorites, Galaxy Galore, and I have the cow print as well as the checkerboard Doodles background. So those are the ones that I chose to use today, and that's exactly where we're at. So I've stamped them out in Versamark ink onto the watercolor card, and then I used just a clear embossing powder. Actually, this is, pardon me, it's a white satin pearl embossing powder, but you can use any clear or white embossing powder that you want in your stash, because ultimately we're going for an emboss resist. So if you're using a dark cardstock, then you want either clear or an embossing powder that matches your cardstock. But for me, I like to do it on white or cream, and I use a coordinating embossing powder. So here we are. I have everything heat set, and all that embossing powder is set, and the designs are perfect. And now I'm spraying out my embossing or my Distress spray stains. So I will be showing the images soon of the exact colors that I've used, but I have Fossilized Amber, I have Carved Pumpkin, and here I'm trying to decide if I want the Scorched Timber or Vintage Photo to coordinate with my Walnut Stain spritz, because I don't have a Walnut Stain Distress spray, oddly enough. But the Scorched Timber matched it best. So we're going with Scorched Timber Distress Spray as well as Peeled Paint. And then I come back in with the other two again. So I have those four main colors. I have Carved Pumpkin, Fossilized Amber, Scorched Timber, and Peeled Paint. Those are my colors of Distress Spray stains, and I will show them here in just a second. But then once I get those all sprayed down, then I'm going to come back in with my spritzes. So here are my spray stains, and again I use the Scorched Timber in lieu of Walnut Stain because I don't have the Walnut Stain spray. But those are my spritzes, and what I'm doing is I'm spritzing the same color of spritz over the same color of stain. Does that make sense? So wherever I have Fossilized Amber spray stain, I'm spritzing just a little bit of the Fossilized Amber Distress Spritz. And I did that with all four of my colors. And then that leaves all that beautiful mica, because remember with the spritzes, it's only the mica that's colored. The liquid is not. The liquid is just the vessel to get that mica out of the bottle and onto your project. You can get something similar with the mica stains. However, the mica stains are different colors. They're not the main distress color line, which is what the spritzes are. So my understanding is that they're more of a finishing spray than a medium in and of themselves. And again, I'm sure there are a million ways that we can come up with to use them, But for right now, as I continue to learn this new friend of mine and this new product, my understanding is the finishing spray, and so that's how I'll be using it for the time being. I will continue to branch out and try new things. So here I am just dabbing up some of the puddles. Now that doesn't mean I'm dabbing up the mica. The mica is still there. There's plenty of shimmer and shine, and there's some unexpected shimmer and shine from the white satin pearl embossing powder on all those beautiful background designs. So again, just dabbing it up, and then I'm using that paper towel to remove any color that was adhered to the embossing powder, because that's the emboss resist, right? That embossing powder resists those colors, so then you get the beautiful white image of whatever you stamped in the background. So I am making a 5x7 card, and I have my black panel is cut down just smaller than 5x7. But I'm having a hard time now because what I saw in my head when I first got started is not what's happening on my table. So I kind of lost my mojo. I lost my direction. So I walked away for a little while. As you saw, I used my corner puncher to kind of chomp those corners and round them up a bit. And then I decided I was going to make 2 cards. I have plenty of pumpkins for 2 cards. So I'm going to do one more of a clean and simple, at least clean and simple for me, and then the other I decided that I wanted some tone on tone texture. So sticking with Distress products, I pulled out my black opaque texture paste to go with that tone on tone, and I'm putting it through the Harlequin stencil. I love this stencil. I would ask Whimsy though if we couldn't get 3 full stencils out of that. Yeah, yep. I'll just leave it at that. But Whimsy, yes, if you're hearing me, I would love to have a 6x6 in each of those patterns. That would be amazing. So anyway, I laid down that that texture paste through the stencil and set it aside to dry. And then I'm going to have that tone on tone texture and a little bit of a 3D look to it, if you will. And so with that, I'm about to turn my attention to my flat panel, my plain panel, if you will. And this is going to be my clean and simple card. So I used some double-sided tape to adhere my burlap ribbon down. And then I'm coming in with some wet glue as well. Now I'm trying to decide which 2 pumpkins I want to use the most. Do I want to go with more dark colors? Do I want my patterns to coordinate a little bit better? So I think I've settled on 2 patterns. And then I used my, what is the name of the die? Oh, I don't have the name of the die that cut the mini thanks. I think it's just called mini thanks. And it does cut out the word many as well. In this situation, I'm only using the word thanks. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to use these circles that were cut out with the Pierce and Stitch circle dies. Wasn't sure if I wanted them to separate my pumpkins from the background. But if I did that, then you're not going to see that burlap trim. And I kind of like that these are all dark and moody on this one. We've got the black background. We've got kind of the dark and moody colors because we had the yellow on that, the Fossilized Amber, the Scorched Timber, and the peeled paint. And so these pumpkins are a little more dark and moody. So I'm layering up my word die. Just a little bit offset so you can see that black thanks in the back. That will offset the word thanks from the white of the embossing powder on the pumpkins, and it will coordinate with that black background. Here I am just removing a little bit more of any ink that might still be on top of that those embossed images, and then I'm coming in with my Barely Art Precision Craft glue, and I'm going to glue that down right there across both pumpkins. And other than a little bit of embellishment in the end, I'm calling it done. So this is very much plain and simple, or clean and simple for me. Now here I have my panel where I've added the texture paste through the Harlequin stencil, and I love it. And here I want to add that separation, right? I want those pumpkins to pop a little bit more off that background. So here's where I'm going to use my circles. Again, these were die cut from the Pierce and Stitch circle dies. I'm using that same burlap ribbon, and I use the double-sided tape again on the back side, and then I come in again with my Barely Art glue and add some underneath the front of the burlap ribbon, and I put it all over the back, and then I mount it down to the card base. And here I'm trying to decide exactly what I want to do with my word thanks. I'm going to leave it in white. Now it would have looked good in black to offset it from these lighter colored pumpkins, but I decided to leave it in white. If you decide to make these, you can do them however you want, and you don't have to use thanks. You can use birthday. You can use whatever sentiment you want. So I have popped up the pumpkins. I popped up the circles as well on the double-sided foam tape from Whimsy's store. And here I have layered that word thanks 3 times. I do not like to layer my words, so that was a labor of love. And there they are. I think they're very sweet. I like that the one is a little bit more lighter and brighter with all of the white. And then I like the moodiness of the clean and simple card. And then here I'm coming in with some what do they call? Confetti from This Calls for Confetti. These are the gloss black. And I went back and forth. Did I want to use clear? Did I want to use white? Did I want to use a matching yellow or green? Ultimately, I just went with the black because I just want that tone on tone. I didn't want to add any more color anywhere else. I didn't want to detract from those beautiful pumpkins. And so just a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of shine as your eye moves across the card and the light hits those little confetti. Otherwise, your focus is on those beautiful pumpkins. So I think I am done today. We got a 2 for situation, playing with the Distress Spray stains and then overlaying some beautiful mica with the Distress Spritz Sprays. And these are my beautiful cards. Pardon me. I apologize for being froggy today. I'm not sure what's going on in my throat, but I thank you for joining me. Let me know your thoughts on these cards downstairs. What sentiment would you have used if you wouldn't have used thanks? To me, I had kind of Thanksgiving in my mind. But tell me your thoughts downstairs. I encourage you to go ahead and hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you are not already a member of my crafty tribe. As always, I'd love to have you back. I can't wait to see you. There's plenty more fun stuff coming. And until next time, y'all, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Mwah, and I'm out.